JJ Perez with Inside Runner Sports. This is your Inside Runner Sports UTSA football post-game wrap-up. Jerry Briggs here from the press box at the Alamo Dome. UTSA with the 30-21 win. Jerry opened up Conference USA with the win. They had to hold off the Miners tonight. Miners would not go away. Roadrunners scored 24 unanswered points.
24 in a row.
Yeah, and UTEP comes back in the second half and makes the game interesting. Jerry, just what are some of your thoughts on the game here?
Well, just they did just enough to get past a pretty hard-working team from El Paso tonight. They didn't play great, but here they are. They're 1-0 in the conference, and like Josiah Taifa said, it's exactly where they wanted to be.
So the Roadrunners, pretty interesting game tonight from the Roadrunners. Offense sputtered a little bit at times, but they were very opportunistic. The key plays in the game were obviously the turnovers, the special teams, the field position. Clayton Johnson with an interception, Andrew Martell with the fumble recovery. Both of those led to touchdown scores. Just an opportunistic play from the Roadrunners tonight.
It really was, and I really liked the way the offense, even though they did get the ball on those turnovers, they did something with. There are a lot of times this year they've got a break or two like that where they didn't really cash in on it, and it seems like they're getting a little better at seizing the opportunity when it arises right now. I think that's a big reason they've won their last two.
Quarterback Cordell Grundy was the leader of the offense tonight. He kind of made the whole thing tick. He threw over 30 passes. I thought it was his best game. He threw a pretty good pass down here to Ty Key for a touchdown in the end zone, and he scrambled out of the pocket. He carried the Roadrunner offense tonight, Jerry, didn't he?
He did. He like Coach said, he managed the clock well. He just managed situations. He'd get them in and out of plays in time. That's another improvement that they've had since first few weeks. They just look better. They're more cohesive right now. I think everybody's learning how to play each other. I think that was going to be inevitable. That they do have a little bit of talent on offense this year, and I think they're starting to get a little bit of a rhythm and playing together. And they didn't quite hit the 300. I was anxious to see if they could hit 300, and I didn't quite get there. But I think they're going to be okay. They're like I say, they've won their last two going into Houston next week. So I think they feel pretty good about themselves right now.
Let's talk about the defense a little. We saw a little bit of throwback to last season where the Roadrunners held them under 300 yards. They were kind of stingy, made some plays. Saw you talking with Clayton Johnson one-on-one and post-game. He had a big game, a big pass breakup at the end of the game, as well as his interception. What did he say down there, Jerry?
Clayton says he thinks they are practicing. He likes the way they were practicing the last few weeks. I mean, he told me he could sense that they were going to have a good game against Texas State because he knew they practiced well. And he said that he felt like they did that again this week, and so now they've got a little bit of that going. I think that defense is starting to feel it a little bit. Like I say, the first few weeks they were up against some NFL caliber receivers, and it was tough. I mean, I think their confidence got dinged a little bit the first few weeks, but those were excellent players that they were trying to guard out there on the perimeter, and now now that they're feeling a little bit of success, they feel better about themselves, and that makes a lot of difference when you think that you can win, when you go into a game thinking you can win, you have some confidence. It makes a lot of difference.
Guys like Andrew Martell trying to get his name in the paper. Guys like DeQuarius Henry having good games, kind of back-to-back weeks. So I think the defense is definitely shaping into form. I think that's kind of the unit that we're going to see the most improvement from here these next few games. And on the flip side, Jerry, let's talk about the offensive line. The kind of unit that was banged up headed into this game. We weren't sure if you were going to see Kevin Davis at center, Spencer Burford. Both of those guys started, but we saw some guys get banged up, most notably Jalen Galmore with what looked like a really bad injury. He had his knee wrapped on the sidelines. Just kind of a tough sled for that offensive line unit so far, right?
It's not easy to play offensive line. Those guys are just down there, and it looked like it was a it was a battle
Yeah.
up front tonight. UTEP's players were playing hard, and it was a struggle. Those young guys are starting to figure it out, but they are going to get it's just inevitable that there are going to be some people go down from time to time. It's why it's so important to develop that second string line. I'm not sure who gets plugged in there next week in Jalen's spot if he can't play.
Right.
But
Yeah.
they've got to develop a little bit of depth there if they're going to carry this thing forward into the and make a conference run.
We saw Jordan Wright return, a starter on the offensive line a year ago. He kind of plugged and play in some different spots. So we'll see how that goes. That'll be definitely something to monitor this week headed into Rice. Now the Roadrunners have won 2 in a row. They're 1-0 in conference play, and again, we talked about this last week, Jerry, but another opportunity to build some momentum, headed into the meat of the schedule next week against Rice in Houston.
You're right. I mean, it's just, I think they have a chance to get a few more people back next week as well, and so they have been dinged up these first few games that they played against the Power Fives. They had a lot of guys that did not play at all coming out of fall camp. They were hurt coming out of fall camp. Had a few more that were hurt during those first 3 games. So they've been down quite a few guys. They were down a lot of guys going through the first 3 games, and now they're starting to get a few people coming back. I noticed one of their linebackers, Guidry came back today, and so the more they can get a little momentum from those guys coming back off the injury shelf, I think the better.
It's probably not the win UTSA fans wanted. I think maybe the felt like the Roadrunners should blow this team out, but yeah, the players seem kind of upbeat about it. They still have room to improve, and I think there's still a long way to go, but it's still 2 in a row, and they still have an opportunity. Everything they want to do is still in front. Every goal they have is still in front of them.
They've got to get that running game going to make a really strong run in the conference. They're going to have to run the ball much, much better. That's something that just has been, a little bit.
The elephant in the room.
Really been inconsistent on that this year, and so you're right. That's something they have got to get straightened out before they get deeper into the conference. They're young, I still can't believe that Spencer Burford, freshman, is playing. This time last year he was playing in high school, and it's just amazing. He's not doing too bad. He's holding his own out there. It's just there's a certain cohesiveness that you have to have, playing together with your teammates. That Nate Leonard used to always tell me that you have to play with guys day after day after day in practice and in games, and from year to year it gets easier when you're with the same group. And so I think all those guys are just kind of in the infant stages of figuring out. They're going to be okay, but it might be pretty tough sledding this year with the line being so young like that.
Can't wrap this thing up without talking about Jared Sackett. Second straight game with 3 field goals or more, Jerry. He pushed a 47-yarder there, but other than that, he's just been as good as you could expect from him. Just nails.
Yeah, he is. Clayton and I were talking a little bit about Jared. Clayton says that Jared is just a hard-nosed worker in practice. He says they really come after him in drills and make sure that he's mentally prepared to go into a game. And Jared loves the pressure.
Yeah.
You can tell
Yeah.
he likes to be out there in the moment. When there's a big moment, he likes being out there. The moment is not too big for him, and that's it's a really good thing to have this time of year, obviously.
Well, that'll wrap it up here from the Alamo Dome. The UTSA Roadrunners down to UTEP Miners 30-21, improved to 1-0 in Conference USA play, 2-3 overall. Be sure to check out Inside Runner Sports for all of our post-game wrap-up. See you guys. Thanks.